introduction. Let's start the show. Here's a little bit of wedding advice from me to help your love story unfold. Welcome back, lovebirds. This is your wedding series, and I'm your content creator. As you guys know, I've been helping you plan your wedding and your marriage. I know a lot of people don't plan for marriage, but I'm helping you do those things from a younger age, which means about age 14. Because you're still living at home at that time, you can actually start planning for adulthood during those years. And so we talked about finances and about getting your life on track before you even get proposed to, before he even say, hey, will you marry me? Before you even know who this guy is, okay, or is going to be in your life. We start planning to be a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, and a helpmate at that young age. Now, if you missed those episodes, go back to season 1. Go all the way back to season 1 because they are definitely going to help you, especially when it comes to just understanding accountability and how things and how the foundation of marriages and even weddings get so off course, and we don't even realize that it happened from the age of 14 years old and on because we weren't preparing, okay? And there's so much you can do to be preparing, not just, doing kids stuff, but this is part of kids stuff. We just didn't know because nobody was telling us. So I am here to help the next generations to do a better job. I know that there is no perfect marriage. There's no perfect weddings because we are not perfect people. We are just not perfect. But it is going to help you to at least have a better start than what most people have in the generations before now. So we are in season 4, episode 8. We have fast forward to the time in which you've gotten engaged. It's different for everybody. And we are starting to plan your wedding out. Okay. So we've been doing a lot of planning. With us being in season 4, this is the 4th month. That means 3 whole months have gone by, and we are at month number 4. A lot has happened. So if you're interested in trying to plan your wedding from the beginning, from the start, make sure that you just don't listen to this video because it's all about flowers. Ooh. You don't want to miss out on all the other advice and planning tips that I have given. And it's been really good, you guys. Sometimes we just really get at it. This is a podcast style. So it's all about really opening up that conversation and really talking about some things, okay? So we are in season 4, episode 8. And yes, we are talking all about flowers today. It is time to book your florist. Hopefully you listened to me when I said, make sure that you stay organized, you get mood boards for everything, and you start building your task board, having a notebook, checking off these things, and so that it will make your life a lot easier. I've helped you along the way, so anyone that's confused by everything that I just mentioned, please go back and watch the other videos because you want to start at the top, okay? You don't want to start here, season 4, episode 8, and you're completely lost and you're like, well, I haven't done any of that. And that's because you haven't been following us for the other stuff. So make sure that you do that. We are now at the point where it's time to book your florist. So the reason why I said hopefully you were doing those other things is because you were building a mood board. You were looking at all kinds of flowers and you were making all kinds of phone calls and getting pricing, going to talk to these florists in person. Like you can go into a flower shop and you can just go chat it up with them in person and see what they say, and it's going to surprise you how little you're going to get for a lot of money that you're going to spend. And you guys know my take on this. I don't think that anyone should have flowers at their wedding if they paid for them. That's just how I feel about flowers. They're going to die, and that's how I feel. So, and I think that if you get the artificial ones and you put them in your house, if you have allergy issues, they're going to create dust. So I know it's unpopular. I know. But that's just how I feel, okay, about flowers. So it is up to you. But right now, you need to book your florist. and you need to start sharing some inspo with them. So hopefully you've built some mood boards and you've got some ideas of colors, the style of flowers, the hopefully even the amount of, where you want to use them at the very least. Like, where do you want to put flowers? You may not know the exact amount just yet until they give you a number, a figure to go along with that amount. So you want to have some things in mind though, like where would you like the flowers? Do you want them just on the altar where you guys are going to be standing? Do you want them to be on an arch? Do you want them to be in the aisle as you're coming down the aisle? You want to see them at each seat, maybe some bouquets on the floor or something like that. Do you want your flower girl to be throwing out some petals or some flowers or something? Do you want that to happen? That's going to cost you. That's not free. Then you have to also think about the reception venue. Where do you want those flowers to be? If you had some bouquets at the ceremony, I just want to give you a hint. You can actually flip those and put those in for the reception, so then you don't have to buy more. So if it's bouquet style that you had at the ceremony, you can flip those and put those in for the reception. If you had any like loose flowers or petals, you can also, if they weren't already on the floor, any ones that are left over, you can also use at your reception. Something that I love to see is whenever you see the bridal bouquet, the bridesmaid's bouquet being used as the reception table's bouquet. Okay, instead of going out and getting more flowers for the tables, they just flip it and add those in to the actual reception tables. And it's just smart. It saves you money. And a lot of people don't think about doing that. They end up just buying flowers for, both the bridesmaids and then also for the tables. Now, the bridesmaids are welcome to have their flowers after everything is over if they want their bouquets back, if they want to take them home on an airplane, whatever. If they don't want them back, then give it to a family member that lives in town, hopefully, and they can take care of those flowers, right? So, because you're going to be gone. You're going to be gone. So you're going to be on your honeymoon, right? We're doing these things the right way. You're going on a honeymoon right after the wedding because you need to rest. You need to recuperate. And you need to love on each other. You do. So it's a time to figure out where you want those flowers to go. Like I said, like where in the venue, also potentially how many do you want, as well as who's going to take them home, who takes them home afterwards. So you want to be thinking about all those things. Now, the other thing I mentioned is the style. You can't forget about the style. Hopefully you built up that mood board, because we don't want to get 3 months in, we're already in the 4th month, and you're still trying to figure out like what flowers you want. We talked about all this so that like you would be planning and getting all of this together along the way. So hopefully you figured that out. You've also made some phone calls and you've decided, okay, this is the florist that I want to go with. This is the person. I don't want to go with anybody else. Their pricing is pretty good to us and it's going to fit our budget. And so this is the florist that we're going to go to. So you're going to go ahead and make that phone call, get that booking done so that they know, hey, I'm going to go with you guys. And now I'm going to send you some of my inspo pics for what I was thinking for flowers and stuff. And hopefully you already have gotten like a pretty good quote from them. If not, they're going to send you a quote and then you can agree on that quote. Now let's look at some other options. Let's talk about our DIY brides, okay? So when we're talking about the DIY brides who are going to choose artificial flowers, there's nothing wrong with that. You're just going to have to do a lot of homework, like we mentioned before, on where do you want to get those artificial flowers, because now there's companies popping up that are brick and mortar, and they're not really brick and mortar. They're working from home and they're just ordering those flowers from big warehouses, the same places that you can find them. Hint, hint. But then they're going to upcharge you. So you really don't have to go through those. You can just do your research online and, check it out. The only thing that's different is that you won't be able to see them beforehand, whereas a lot of these ones that are saying, like, you know, in your local city, hey, we can get your artificial flowers and we can deliver them to you and all this stuff, they're going to already know what the flowers look like. If you go through an online website, you're going to have no clue what they look like in person, right? So that's why it's important for you to decide, okay, do I want to go with them and I trust them, I trust the upsell, or do I want to go through a warehouse or something online myself and get my artificial flowers on my own and just take my chances. Now, you could just order a little bit if you want, because since it's going to be in it a little bit less inexpensive, you know, a little bit less expensive than going the real flowers route, right? Since you're doing artificial flowers, you could probably order like a couple here and there just to see what they look like before just ordering like a lot from them. Because I know that I went to a wedding where the bride ordered the roses and they were supposed to like pop open or whatever. You're supposed to like kind of work them open and they look absolutely beautiful once they're opened, right? But when they ship them to you, they're all flat, they're smushed. Well, guess what ended up happening? She had quite a few that didn't even open. But because they're so inexpensive, she was like, oh, well, like, we'll just order some more. And the next batch, they did do better, but she still had some that didn't open. So you do have to be kind of like concerned about that part because you just don't really know what you're getting. Now, to me, I don't know. I don't know. Like, they look pretty and stuff, but I just know that there's other ways of decorating that you don't have to use flowers. You can use other things like candles and bodices, which is like the little candle holders, and tea lights and lanterns and things like that. You don't have to use flowers. Even for your bridesmaids, I would keep it simple. You could do corsages. Remember we mentioned those? We mentioned the one long stem rose with some baby's breath or some kind of like something around it. You, like I said, get creative, think outside the box, look around, get your inspos. Hopefully you already have them at this point, and now it's time to make that purchase. Okay, it's time to do it. It's time to do it. Now, when it comes to the flowers for the bridal party, this is going to be, let's see who is paying for this. We are now at the budget binder. So we're now at the budget binder and we're going to be looking at who pays for this. This is going to be broken down into two categories. So the flowers for the ceremony and the reception, those venues, as well as the bouquets for the bridesmaids. Those are going to be paid for by the parents of the bride, traditionally. So, guys, I don't know who's paying for your wedding, but traditionally, that's who pays for it. If you want to know who traditionally pays for that portion. Now, there are some other flowers. I don't have the flower girl here, but I'm going to say that's definitely from the parents of the bride as well. So let's talk about the groom's personal flowers, the bride's bouquet, the boutonnieres for the wedding party for the men, and the corsages for both mothers and both sets of grandmothers, okay? No matter how many mothers you have, no matter how many grandmothers you have, they're all going to need some corsages, okay? And that is all of those things I just mentioned are going to be paid for by the groom, okay? So that is the personal flowers, the bride's bouquet, the boutonnieres for the wedding party for the groomsmen, and all of the corsages for every single mom, every single mother, and every single grandmother. So that's who pays for the flowers as a whole, okay? And guys, let me just say they're very expensive. So anybody out there who's listening to this that doesn't know that, I'm talking about in the thousands with an S. Very expensive. So it's up to you if you want to go spending money on flowers. I just feel like we just don't need them. They're very pretty, but we have to remember back in the day, they used to just pick their flowers. Okay. Yeah. Cost zero. Some seeds. And now we're looking at people have to do all this work. Maybe since you're getting married, you could go and plant some flowers and roses before your wedding with some seeds as well. I don't know how good seeds are these days, but you could certainly try it. So that's another viable option where you could save a little bit if you're looking to save some money. I don't know about a little bit. I mean, you're going to be saving a lot if you actually plant your own roses and flowers for your upcoming wedding. I don't know if anybody ever does that. That would be super, super cool. So that's another option, okay? Is that you could actually take the time out and plant your own flowers and roses and baby's breath and anything else that you wanted to, to plant, and then use those. So that would be great. That would be super cool. I wish I heard about more people doing that. I know that some people will go to their local floral shop on their own rather than using the venue's florals if they will allow them, if they had a blank slate wedding venue. But I don't think I know anybody that's taken the time out to plant their own flowers, roses from their own garden and their own baby's breath and stuff in their own greenery. I don't think so. I don't think I've heard of it, but I think that would be so cool. We're now at the segment called Be My Guest. I would love for you to be my guest on your Wedding Series podcast. This is your content creator, and I'm looking for guests. I'm looking for people who have actually booked a florist. How it went. Was it professional? Did you feel like they treated you well for asking for all that money? Did you feel like they did a good job of giving you back all your flowers at the end of the night? A lot of times I see them go and use your flowers for other weddings afterwards, and that's scary. That sucks, right? You don't remember because to ask for them because you're going off on your honeymoon, you're excited. The wedding is over and you're like, woo, we did it. And no one's thinking about hello, the flowers that we paid thousands for, they were left at the venue and now those people are going to keep our stuff. Yeah, they are. So just know that it's important that you ask for those back. Okay. You ask for those back, and that would be man, yeah. So if you were a bride or groom, or if you are a bride or groom and you are looking at the florist, you're looking at artificial flowers, you're a DIY bride, even if you're not a DIY bride and you're just going to go buy your flowers somewhere from a florist, or if you're going to take my idea and you're going to plant your own flowers and roses, I would love to have you on your Wedding Series podcast. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a love story too. So if you want to come on and share that, you're more than welcome. And you also get to talk about your engagement era. If you have some little tips and advice for other brides and grooms out there, other wedding couples that are trying their best to plan out a wedding, you will be able to help them so much. I hope that you will want to be on your Wedding Series podcast. Also, if you are a florist and you've got some stories to tell, you're like, you know what? I got some stories to tell about how it went with customers, even if they were a little bit interesting, a struggle. But then you may have some really amazing stories of how well people treated you too, and how lovely you felt like they put their bouquets together and things like that, and different colors that you think go well together. I want to hear from everybody. So if you want to be on your Wedding Series podcast, we are going to record a session together. I'm going to send you over some interview questions. You're going to approve them. And then we're going to have a little interview session together on video. So it's going to be recorded on video and still going to be podcast style. We're just going to get to talk, hang out, conversate. And then I'm going to share that video on the warm. It's going to be great. But the way we get started is that you've got to send me an email first because I have to find out who you are. So we got to like send me an email first, and you do so at yourcontentcreator@yahoo.com. And you guys know what I'm about to say. You guys already know. That's the end of the episode. I know. They go so fast. They go so fast. I will see you in the next one. Bye, lovebirds.
Lights, camera, action, baby, strike a pose. Phones and cameras out, just watch it all unfold. We're the stars of the show, ain't no need for filters. Living life through the lens, capturing our thrills. Put away your phones and cameras, let the good times roll. Our content creators got it all under control. From weddings to events, parties, travel and brands, we're living the paparazzi life. It's all in our hands. Lights, camera, action, we're ready to go. We're professionals, don't you already know? From TikTok to Instagram,